Alrighty, we are live as my webcam is not set up correctly. Thought it was. That is my bad. That's good enough. Alrighty. Set up correctly. Thought it was. So unprofessional. Not ready. Microphone was in the wrong spot as well. Alrighty, so this is Ramsey, actually live from Columbus, OH. This is the Ramsey Show Aftershow show. And you're watching this on youtube.com/coachstevemoney. I'm a Ramsey Solutions certified financial coach. And if you'd like more of my financial content, just scroll down past the Oak Island playlist and you'll see the Ramsey Show After Show playlist. Today is episode number 505 and there's 137 episodes of answering your financial questions, and there's 12 Ramsey adjacent songs in the music playlist. You listen to those if you are so inclined. And now is the time where we go market report. And awesome today, led by the Russell Small Cap Index at 2.55% up today. And this would have been a good day for the winning theme music from The Price is Right. That one. Let's see how the rest of the planet did. Mostly down in Europe and mostly up in Asia. As far as the United States dollar, guess what? It was up against the euro, up against the Japanese yen, up against the British pound, love, the bloody quid. But it was down to the Canadian dollar, sorry. And it was also down to the Australian dollarmite. Australia said nar. On that one, the most followed single stocks on the Google, the highest was, I bet, 11.93%, the Tesla. Imagine that could happen. But everything up today out of those top 6 stocks, the least being Microsoft at 0.47%. Still bad. Can't beat that. Let's see what in the futures down for tomorrow so far, but you never can tell what'll happen by the time the opening bell rings tomorrow. Let's check the headlines. 23andMe bankruptcy. I mean, they had a good run, I guess. I'd say at least 10 years, right, for 23andMe. Oh, you know what I could do? I could make sure that I can see the chat. That way when Joy checks in from the state up north, I can say, what up, Sid? Congratulations on being debt-free, Sid. Freedom! Let's see, nearly 1.3 million Ford F-150s under investigation were reported. Unexpected gear downshifts. Well, that's not good. You do not want your F-150 to downshift when you did not want it to downshift. South Korea's Hyundai announces $21 billion U.S. investment. Well, I guess that's good. Maybe jobs. Get some jobs here in the America. Flight passenger slams sneaky travelers who vape in airports. You aren't fooling anyone. What are they doing? They're holding it. They're pretending like they're coughing and hidden the vape there. NVIDIA, AMD, Meta lead tech stock rally as tariff news, AI breakthroughs boost sector. So yeah, some good news today. United Airlines raising annual fees for lounges and rewards credit cards. Really? Reward credit card and they're raising the fee for it. Imagine that. The wild Trump theory making the rounds on Wall Street. Don't know what that is. Not clicking on it, but who knows? It could be anything. Theories making the rounds don't mean anything. Quantum apocalypse is coming. Be very afraid. I don't know what that means as well. Quantum computing. Something about that. Do not know. What was the NVIDIA up? 3.15. We did Tesla. Palantir up 6.37%. I don't know what QBTS is. D-Wave. D-Wave style. I don't know if that's an audio. No, it might be computing sales. Computer chips. Dun & Bradstreet, and it was a definitive agreement to be acquired by Clear Lake Capital Group. So yeah, high finance happening there. And Super Micro down 1.02%. All right, let's get into some questions. We go to reddit.com/r/Dave Ramsey. And I don't know if you're familiar with Mr. Ramsey, but he's the no debt guy. So, and yet, people on the replay today actually is a new thing. And I think they already had done this one replay previously where it's not one full episode. They take a bunch of different calls and they string them together with different hosts. And one of the later ones in the show today, the replay, the Christmas tree was in the Ramsey Solutions lobby. Fun times. Help investing 101 from me, you. I know people told me to need to talk to a financial advisor, but can anyone give me some advice about my money situation? 36, new in this country, mother of two. Oh, I already read this one. And it was the 529 for kids. And you would get this was the whole thing. Again, this is do the baby steps. And so you would be getting yourself in better, like if you had debt, you would pay that up before you would start a 529 for the kids, because that's 529 is step 5, and paying off non-mortgage debt is step 2. So it would depend on what baby step you're on there. Generic name here. All right, you succeeded. How to convince girlfriend to put more into retirement and or invest. Well, if this is your girlfriend, is it your job to convince her to do that? Some context. So I'm in a fairly long-term relationship and my girlfriend is decent with money. And by decent, I mean she just doesn't spend anything. We are young, not dealing with rent/mortgage. She has no school debt, still living with mommy and daddy. No school debt, no bills, makes good money, and is all around in a good situation. Should be investing into retirement. That would be part of that. She fears investing in retirement for some reason and just backs out of the conversation. When I bring it up, well, you guys got to talk about that. Especially before you get married. You got to figure out what is up with that. And I mean, if she has some kind of mental block or something on that, she may need some counseling on that, because that is generally agreed by everybody that that's a good thing to do. She currently gets some retirement through her work. It needs to be 15% of gross income, but isn't adding anything extra to it. All right, she would probably be considered on baby step 4. Okay, yep. Although no plan for kids and there's no current mortgage, right? And so you don't set aside money for mortgage unless you decide you want to buy a house, and then that's called the down payment. That's not step 6. And step 5 is for kids, but you don't do saving for kid college until there's a kid to do that for. Anyway, to help try to send her the right direction for retirement or investing, she plans to have over 100K. Sorry, didn't see the ellipsis there. She plans to have over 100K savings soon, and it's not doing much, just sitting in a savings account, right? So probably most of that could be put. You need to have since your finances should be separate, should not be living together yet, since you're not married, and so she needs to have her at least 3 month of expenses emergency fund. Beyond that, all of it can go to retirement investing. I feel like at our age, she's missing out on retirement already by not investing. Well, it depends. Are you guys getting married and want to buy a house? And so then you might not throw it all in there, but definitely should be doing out of every paycheck at least 15% of gross income into investing. That's the baby steps. And that is recommended for everybody, not just people's girlfriends. Not going to clarify life situation. She's just got no debt. That's fine. You don't have to. No bills and a good savings and won't invest. Technically, she has a credit card, but whatever is spent each money gets paid off completely. Each month is probably what the person meant. And yeah, so that's still not, what would Dave do? He would not do that dumb crap with the using a credit card and then paying it off every month. He would not do that. He would say don't use the credit card at all because it is debt the second that you use the card until it gets paid off again. You are in debt. And there's just no need to do that, especially when you have $100,000 in your savings account. That's just dumb. Just pay cash for it. So, but yeah, you definitely want to, I would want to retire at some point. I would want to have a lot of money. I retire, at least enough to cover your expenses. And who knows what the expenses will be by the time you guys are old enough to retire. But you also have to realize that that is just your girlfriend and not your wife. So you can't, it's not your job to convince her of anything. Although it certainly is the right thing to do. But no more, she shouldn't do it any more than anybody else should, which everybody should. Do the baby steps. In order. Imagine that. Goes back. She was here, then I guess went away, and now back. So welcome back, Mr. Kader. Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. This is Carson's Gigi. Every dollar question, I returned some merch and my bank account was credited, but I don't see those credits in my transactions. Boop, boop, boo, doo. Any thoughts on that, Sid? Do you ever do a return? I would think that would pull that in from the bank account if it's pulling out the other transactions. I would think that would pull it in, but you know what you might want to do? You might want to, instead of just assuming that all that's going to work every single time and you never look at your bank account and you just look at every dollar, maybe you take a look at the bank account and see if it's there yet. So it doesn't say either way if the person checked that, but that's just the kind of stuff that people do because, I don't know, because they're nutty. I don't know. People do nutty stuff. And so I just get used to them doing nutty stuff. So I try to preempt it. I don't know that that's the case here. Maybe he did check the bank and it is in the bank, but he didn't pull it over for some reason. So, but I don't know. Every dollar doesn't update instantly. Yeah, it could be a sync error. Might just take another day or two. All right, day or so. All right, thank you, Sid. That's Sid the Kid, everybody. That's our Bayou field reporter. Do I cash 5K out of 14K in my investment to pay off my loan? And that's well, if it's in a retirement account, that's a no. If it's not in a retirement account, yes. And that's the long story short. I don't think we need to know about a house. I have a personal loan of $5,000 I'll be paying off in August 2026. No, you're correct in thinking that, oh, maybe I shouldn't wait till August 2026 to pay it off. Considering cashing out to pay it off, but I'm hesitant since I've been saving for a year to accumulate $14,000. Yeah, you would. You don't have extra savings while you have debt hanging out. You don't do that. So what we can do is check out the baby steps and make sure that we're right about this. Baby step 1 says save $1,000. Does it save another $13,000? No, it does not say that. The next step is to pay off your debt. So that would be a NAR. But this is incredibly normal. People do this dumb crap all the time, where they have a loan, but they say, I'm going to save up $14,000 because that'd be a good thing to do to have that. And you're on the Ramsey subreddit. And what's crazy is that people actually read these steps and somehow think that, oh yeah, I'm supposed to save up $14,000 before I pay off my debts. I'm absolutely supposed to do that. And that would be a NAR. You're not. Mostnet 6719, paying off the mortgage. I plan to retire in 3 years. I can afford to pay an extra $500 a month until then, which reduces my principal to $72,000. That's what's left of my debts as I paid everything else off. Great. My retirement is all set, so I don't need to fund that. You will have the second you retire, starting that second, you have enough income from your retirement to pay for all of your expenses, including the mortgage if you don't pay that off by that time. By the time 3 years is up. The deal is my house is now worth around $400,000. I know the preference is always to not have a mortgage. Yes, and period. So, and yet, again, people always say, I know the Ramsey advice is blah, blah, blah. And then they put a period, and then for some reason it doesn't stop there. And it doesn't say, semicolon. And so that's what I'm going to do. No, it always says some other dumb crap after that. Let's see what dumb crap is after. In my case, I plan to take the $250,000 when I sell and just pay cash for a new place. Okay, that's fine too. That's not dumb at all. Apologies. It may be more than $250,000, but I'm allowing for fees and a slowing housing market. Okay, saves me $10,000 in interest over 3 years paying extra, but that's it. I'm just wondering if it's worth it to pay extra for 3 years. Yeah, because you don't know exactly what's going to happen. You know exactly that you do still have that mortgage, and so you still keep paying it off because you could end up staying there. You never know. Even though people say, oh yeah, we're definitely going to move, you might not. Always in motion is the future, and so you don't know. So you pay that off, and it doesn't hurt you to pay that off because not only do you get the interest saving, you get all of that money back when you sell the freaking house. Where are we? Just wondering if it's worth it to pay extra for 3 years. Yes, it is. It gives me more equity at the end, but yeah, it does. It does. And so there's nothing that you can put there that changes that. You should still be paying it off because you might not move. You might stay there. And if you don't stay there, if you sell it, then you'll get all of that back. Fun close 1451. No more collections. Well, that's a good thing to do. None at all would be best. Ever. None at all ever. I'm so excited today. I paid off our last accounting collections. We're completely consumer debt free. Excellent. All we have is student loans left. Well, that's consumer debt, my friend. and we are both in school still, so they are not due. Doing this gives me confidence to know I will pay off my student loans. My 45th birthday is student loans, 45th birthday. Boop, boop, boo, doo. And still in school? Is at the end of the month. Did you start college at like 40? At the end of the month, and my goal is to be debt free with a degree by 50. If I can do it, you can too. Let's go this. Let's do this. Maybe it was supposed to be baby step 2 flare, which is correct. That's still baby step 2 for the student loans. And a lot of people are confused about this too. They think you should pay off your student loans and take out new ones. You don't do that. You let the other ones sit and make minimums payments on those, and then you cash flow the rest of school instead of taking out new loans. You don't constantly pay off the student loans and then take out new ones. That is not the way to go on that. Alert indication 681. Delete the last 2 months transactions. It says when you move to a new month, transactions should start from 0 on April 1st. Just drag them all somewhere where so they are recorded as tracked, even if they aren't tracked the way you want to moving forward. Oh, sleepy. Excuse me. Sid doing every dollar webinar on the what's the name of the show? Ramsey Show Aftershow. Forgot for a second. Kind of tired. Sleep all over the place. Still not getting enough sleep. Probably go to bed early though. Ex-wife debit feels stuck. Does that mean debt? People are nutty with their confusing debt and debit. I don't know why. One has an I in it. The one that has an I in it is not something that you owe. A debit does take it out of your account, but because it's being taken out of your account, you don't owe that much anymore because it's already going out of your account. So that's not debt. You could have a debit happen in your account that goes to pay a debt. You could have that happen, but that's still two different things. That was annoying, wasn't it? We make a good amount together, but it was always never enough. She was constantly wanting to buy or spend it on big trips, new car every couple of years. That's crazy. Maybe she shouldn't have been a wife, and maybe that's why she's an ex-wife now. Maybe that's part of the big part of it anyway. Maybe. I don't know. This leads to my next issue. Well, this is your only issue. You don't have another one. Filed for divorce. We agreed I keep my truck. Okay, hey, look, if you are making payments on that, that's on you, bye-bye. You could sell that truck. She keeps her car. Well, she was late on a few payments, which killed my credit score. Yep, my credit, since I'm stuck on her car. Yeah, see, all that should have been fixed when you got divorced. But no, a lot of people like to, just try to keep it simple and say, okay, we'll keep everything the same, and this is what we'll agree to, and we can both keep our cars, which neither one of you should have done, probably. Every card I had was closed out due to it. Well, that's great. That forces you to be debt-free. Excellent. So look at the bright side of that. We have an old bank loan for emergency $10,000. Old bank loan for emergency $10,000. What was the emergency? And she racked that up as well. What do you mean she racked that up as well? It was for an emergency. So you need to learn how to communicate in English. If you're from another country, I'm sorry, but I can't understand what you're talking about there. I had it down to $4,000. She found out she could still withdraw it. Okay, well, that's two different things. You taking out the loan to begin with shouldn't have happened. Bad. You're doing it wrong. And then when you paid it down to $4,000, so then she said, oh, well, hey man, that's still credit that I can use. I'll just withdraw that. Yeah. On her own account, and now it's $9,000. Why did you have it set up that she could put it into her own account? See, all this is dumb. All this is dumb. Everything, every bit of it. I have the old wedding ring and some, what else? See if there's some more tea here going to be spilled. And some items that are worth some value. She wanted to pass the ring down to the kids. We have 2 girls and a boy. She still reaches out to me to try to solve her problems, wanting me to fix her financial screw-ups. Yep, those days are over, right? Which I'm now contemplating selling the ring for a lot and some items. Yep, pay off the loan and close and some other debit. Yeah, not some other debit, some other debt. 2 different words. That's lingering from the divorce that I'm stuck owing on. Yep, and so you feel stuck because you are stuck. You do have to pay that stuff. Unless you go back to court, you sue her to make her pay for it, but I don't think that's going to happen. I think you just got to pay for it. And you just stop interacting with her on a financial basis. All that's over. That's done. You know, I understand you got kids together, so you want to try to make the relationship work, at least be amicable. But, you know, she wants to keep doing dumb stuff, and she's going to be in a world of hurt by living life the way she's living it. But you were doing the dumb crap too, so at the time you were doing every bit bad as stuff as she was. You know, she might have been overspending, but guess what? You took out something for emergency $10,000. What the heck was that for? Maybe it wasn't an emergency after all. Oh, Turbulent Shop, $50.99. Considering selling the car to get cash flow. Looking for advice. And selling the car, that is a big move, and that can really put you further ahead on the baby steps. You don't always have to sell it, though. You can decide to pay it off, especially if that's your only debt. That would be a good time to do that, baby. But even then, you could be further along financially if you sell it and buy a beater. Let's see, I've been reading Total Money Makeover because, as you can imagine, I'm in debt. I can imagine that. Done that. Been there. Didn't like it. And I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. Yep. I'm still working through the book. It's a quick read. Small words. Very uneasy to read. But I've already come across some of the suggestions and steps. My question comes from an issue I'm facing, the beater topic. Before I even got to the steps in the book, I had thought of selling my already paid off vehicle to free up cash to do the dynamite the logjam. Yep. However, when I try to make sense of this, I always end up thinking it doesn't make sense to sell what I currently have just to get a beater. Here's some perspective to get advice. I know what this perspective is. You think that your car won't have anything wrong with it, and something that you buy cheap will. And that could be the case. That might not be the case, though. But let's read it anyway. Don't live in the USA, but I'll translate the values to USD for ease of understanding. That is incredibly helpful. Thank you so very much for doing that. Current total debt around $64K, and that would be why you would sell the freaking car, even though you own it outright. Combined annual income, my wife and I, $43K. We are in the red by about 500 each month. Yeah, and that's why you sell the freaking car and buy a beater. The car I have now is a paid off 2014 Jeep Grand Cherokee valued around 10.5K in my country's market. Would it make sense to sell the car? Yes. Use half the money to tackle the logjam and put the other half toward buying a beater. No, you would buy a beater for the cheapest you can get a decent car for. And so you have a mechanic look at it. Unless you're a mechanic yourself, you have a mechanic look at it before you buy it to make sure it's all good. And you don't go into it saying, well, I need to have a percentage of what I'm going to put to debt to tackle the logjam and then a percentage of what I'm going to buy a beater with. That's dumb crap. And I don't know why people think they have to think like that and have that as a plan. The idea is that you spend as little as possible on it. I'm not going to say you're going to get one for $1, but you might find one for $2,000 or $3,000, and then you can put more to your dumbass debt. How about that? I've been searching and found the 2800 Accord for around $7K. Yep. But to me, it doesn't make sense to do. Yeah, well, you wouldn't sell your car for $10K and then buy one for $7K. That defeats the purpose of doing that. You want to put most of that money, the lion's share of that money, to the debt. Go for something that old, which could be full of surprises. Your car, the Grand Cherokee, could start having problems. Who knows? I've also seen cars around $5K. Yeah. But they're either too old for who? See, you're putting limitations on it now, something that you're not willing to do because you think it's too old. And could be a repair waiting to happen. And so could your freaking Grand Cherokee. Or this 200,008 Honda Accord could be as well. You don't know. People love to think they know everything and they know what's going to happen. If you knew that, you wouldn't have taken out your dumb debt in the first place. And you also wouldn't have to type in this question, apparently. Or they're just not worth considering because of the condition, in your opinion. And so if you're going to go by your opinion, that's fine because it's your life and your money. But the way you're doing things, it's not going to make your financial situation better. What would you do? Keep the car or sell the car? I would sell it. You owe more than you guys make in a year. Gross. And so that's bad. So yeah, I would sell it and buy a beater. I say with a beater in my parking lot right now. Got a ride 99. What to do? Transitioning into baby step 4 from what? 3, right? Baby step 3 emergency fund will be fully funded on Friday. So that was this past Friday. 5 months of expenses. Interesting. Be interesting to see how they came up with that. I mean, I understand it's 3 to 6. I understand 3. I understand 6. Why is 4 the magic number? Or why is 5 the magic number? I don't get it, but I mean, that could be a compromise too with spouses, I guess. And that would be fine. In reviewing my 401k options, I have a Roth 401k available to start contributing to, as is my husband. Great. Do we each put in 15% in the Roth 401k? Is it that simple? What does it mean to max out on Roth contributions? What other things do we need to consider as we get settled into baby step 4? Now, one of the things that throws a lot of people is they think, okay, if husband puts 15% of their gross income into their Roth 401k, and I put 15% of my income, gross income, in the Roth 401k, that means there's 30%. We're not supposed to do 30, we're supposed to do 15. That's because you're doing math wrong. 15 husband and 15 wife equals 15 household. That's how you got to do the math there on percentages. And so that's how that works. So 15 plus 15 equals 15 in that case. But yeah, that is it. And the maxing out on that would have to be, what is that? 20, is it up to like 24,000 now, I think, something like that for the 401ks. And so that means that you would not have to open up a Roth IRA maybe. The only time you would have to do that is if your Roth 401k has crappy investments in it. Like if they only let you do target date funds or something like that, then you should choose to max out a Roth IRA instead, because you can self-direct that and make a lot more money with it. But, and also, by law, you also would be given a traditional 401k as well. And they have to put the match into that traditional one. They cannot put a match amount in there. You put your match amount, you put that in there, but then they can't put what they are matching in that Roth account. They have to put it in a traditional 401k account. And what other things you need to consider? Yeah, it's just that if they have a Roth 401k, great. If the investment choices in it suck, then that's when you should open a Roth IRA and max that one out first instead, because your investments would be better in when you open your own. Because generally, if you open your own Roth IRA, you aren't limited as far as what you can buy as investments in it. Since that people love blaming their problems on their ex. This really is financial peace, says DDJ 1985. I'm almost through baby step 3 with just shy of a 3-month emergency fund. I'm also a federal employee, and with the chaos surrounding Doge, everyone in the federal service is at least slightly worried about their jobs. I mean, I could see that, especially if you know darn well you shouldn't be employed there anyway. Everybody, might be, everybody that's working for the government doesn't need to be working for the government. Okay, government's way too big. So if you're in one of those spots and you know who you are, you know if your job is necessary or not for the nation. And if it's not, then yeah, you might be worried. However, I have comfort knowing that with no debts, except my mortgage, and an emergency fund, I will have time on my side to deal with any future. This has helped me remain calm and stay focused on my work and my family, despite the noise, right? And turn off the news, as always. That's peaceful as well if you turn off the news. But yeah, that's the idea. The further up you are, the higher number baby step you are on, the better you can handle any kind of financial trauma, like losing your job, for one. Investing, question mark. The answer is yes, do that. This is from Rebel Flag, 1993. I have my emergency fund saved up. Congratulations. And that is good, because that is required before you start investing. I've already maxed out my IRA for 2025. Okay, so how did we do that? You want to make sure that you do not save up money, not putting it in the market, and just saving it up for a long time and then putting it in the market. That makes less money than putting it in even $5 and $10 at a time. If you can do $5 and $10 every week, that's better than saving up $500 and then putting it in. So you're doing it wrong if that's what you've done. But if there was a reason why you were able to max it out in what, 3 months? It is, yeah. It's a 3/24 of 2025 here. And so, yeah. So if you were just able to max it out just from your income, that's fine. I rent because I do not make enough to buy a house with just base pay. I don't want to buy a house relying on overtime and bonuses because it may all go away. Okay, fair enough. I also have, it's not a law, you don't have to buy a house. It's a good idea because eventually you would pay that mortgage off and you wouldn't have any rent or mortgage payment anymore. And that's really helpful in retirement, but it is not a law. You can choose to rent forever if you would like. I also have about 45K to 50K in my IRA, about 26K in traditional and 7K in Roth. I also have a 15K mixed in my 401K through work, and I'm contributing 11% with 3% match. So I've talked to a few financial advisors, and they all tell me I may be better off just getting a brokerage account and doing everything myself. However, I do not know anything about investing. Can anyone help? Baby step 6. Well, you need to teach yourself, or you need to pay an investor to advise you and also teach you about the market. Now, I'm sure a lot of them won't do that, and they just want to advise you, and then they get their share of whatever they make for you, or their flat fee, however they charge. So everything that you need to know to be good at investing is on the internet. And of course, you start with the Ramsey advice for what to look for, and you can watch every single clip he has on YouTube about investing, and that will help you. But I'll help you out. The basics of it are: you want a managed mutual fund for retirement, because that can make more than the index, even after you take out the higher expense ratio amount. And you want something with at least a 10-year track record. Longer is better, of course. And so, you can learn all this. It's all on the internet. If you want a good site to compare funds on, is my Morningstar. I was gonna say MicroStar for some reason. Is that I think it's a motherboard manufacturer. Been out of the computer game too long. MicroStar. I think that's the name of it. MSI. I think that's MicroStar. So yeah, so it's all online, so you can teach yourself. It's daunting for a lot of people. It's scary for a lot of people because it does involve you. You want to be in the right funds, but you can also learn how to be in the right funds yourself. And all the information on every single mutual fund is on the internet. And if you just follow Dave's general advice, you can find managed funds that beat the index even after you take out the larger fee for the management part of it. Baby steps 4 and 6 from J298. Would you push yourself to achieve a gross savings rate of 20% to 25%? The savings rate doesn't matter. People love to do other things other than just follow the baby steps. Now it says do 15% into investing once you get to step 4. But as far as other savings, guess what? You do not have extra savings. You have the retirement, right? 15% to gross. You don't have any extra savings. You have your full emergency fund, of course, which you would have had before you started investing, or you would have paused investing until you got all of your debt paid off, and then your full emergency fund. And so you have your full emergency fund, but then the only other savings you do is the retirement while you still have a mortgage. You prioritize the mortgage over investing more. And when I say prioritize, that means you do not invest a penny more than 15% of gross income. You would be paying the mortgage. Let's see. I have my 15% of gross going to retirement account. Great. So you're done. And an extra 100 going to the mortgage. You put more to the mortgage and no extra savings. If you do, you're doing it wrong. And I did that for a few months, and it's like, let's do more. I'm thinking of really doubling down on budgeting. Yeah, you can do that, but that money should go to the mortgage, not to investing. Only the 15% while you still have the mortgage. I had a realization that my core expenses are about half my gross income. And if that's the case, then my savings rate should be higher. Yeah, unless you're blowing it, unless you're spending a lot of it. If my life was a business, I'd want 25% plus margin. All right. My mortgage balance is only around 40K, but the payment keeps going up. Taxes and insurance. So it seems like if I want to get ahead, now is the time. Yeah. So you would put it on the mortgage, not into extra savings. Once you get the mortgage paid off, and then you're on step 7, hey man, you can save whatever you want in any manner you want. Having it all in cash isn't a great idea. That's when you would do extra investing. But you can even have extra savings. That's when some people decide, well, we're going to have a year of emergency fund. And if you're on step 7, you've earned the right to do that. On step 7, you can do just about anything you want except go into a lower baby step. Except, of course, for step 3B if you decide to buy a house. That one's perfectly acceptable. The rest of them having to go into, granted, you might be down to step 5 if you have kids late or something like that. But other than that, it should only really be if you decide to buy a house, and then you would be on 3B, and then you would jump up to 6 as soon as you got the mortgage. Funny chain 2996. How to pay off 1,700 credit card debt as a grad student. All right. The way you do that is how you pay any other debt off. Is you do not spend money on anything else. Imagine that. And why is this question so long here? Let's see. Howdy. I followed this page. Oh, this is funny chain 2996. I think I did say that. Followed this page for a while, but can't stop myself from keeping credit card debt 1,000 to 2,500. Well, okay. I'm a grad student and get paid roughly $1,240 every 2 weeks, $2,480 a month. My rent is $1,000. Trust me, it's the cheapest where I live. I don't know that I trust you, but whatever. And have other bills that amount to $313 outside of that. And spend about $400 to $500 on gas and groceries and other miscellaneous things. That might be too much through the month. And also put away 10% of each paycheck into savings. You would not be doing savings. You would be paying off that debt and not taking out any more. Were you following the baby steps? Which you're not, because you like to have that credit card debt. So why post anything here? Maybe we'll find out. I hope we do. Otherwise, not much reason to read the rest of it. Where are we? Oh, I also put 10% of each paycheck into savings, but I've had to pull from it from time to time when I realize my credit card gets high. So dumb, so dumb, so dumb. I mainly use my credit card for the 2 weeks after I pay rent, which leaves me with about $200 left over, and then wait for the next paycheck. I also use it for extra non-essential stuff like shopping or nail appointments. I've stopped spending on fun stuff. Shopping isn't... If it's just shopping and that's not groceries or essentials, guess what? That is your fun. Actually, it's dumb to do. But how do I budget my paychecks going forward to get this credit balance to zero ASAP? Okay, well, if you want to do that, you don't spend it on anything anymore. Hey, guess what? No nail appointments. Sorry. And definitely no shopping. Women do be shopping, right, Sid? And so you don't want to do that while you have debt. You're trying to get rid of the debt. And so every time you think you want to go shopping, remember, oh, that's right, I told everybody on Reddit that I wanted to get this to zero. Well, I better start acting like it. It stresses me out, but to no end, because I'm living paycheck to paycheck at the moment. Apparently not if you keep using the dumb credit card. Like I said, I know most of my credit card transactions are non-essentials, so I'm stopping using it. Great, but what else can I do at the moment? Work more, spend less. Sell any crap you have laying around that you aren't using. Also, moving forward, how would y'all recommend using my credit card? For none at all. You get rid of it. Hey, if you don't have a credit card, guess what? You can't get into debt again. You have to take out, would have to get a new credit card or get a loan to go into debt again. If you don't have a credit card, it's hard to go into debt on for the moment like that. Not at all. Living above my means. Yeah, stop doing that stupid crap as well. And need to stop. Yes, you do. See, you know all this already. Thanks, sorry in advance if clarifications are needed. No, I think we got it, but I mean, you're a grad student, so probably not dumb. Quit doing dumb crap. You already know everything you need to do. Is it easy to stop being dumb since you're dumb your whole life? And since you always want things, you want to go shopping, and you'd like to have your expensive nail appointments, that kind of thing. I know that's not fun to have to stop those things. I stopped spending money on stuff too. _nasty Roth IRA. What about it? Any recommendations with who I should be opening a Roth IRA with, or what to consider when opening an account? Well, generally, a brokerage is a brokerage. Now, as I was saying before, the person's Roth IRA Roth 401k at their company, that could be a situation where whoever is managing that for the company only has crappy options to invest in. Now, if you open a Roth IRA at Fidelity, at Schwab, what is it? TD Ameritrade. Well, I can't think of any more, but there's a ton of them. I have one on the tip of my tongue. I forgot it. But most of those are going to be the same, where you can buy any fund you want, even from another brokerage. You could buy another brokerage's fund. Vanguard was the one I was thinking about. And so you could do that. But there's really no need to, and also often you get it's cheaper if you buy like the same type of fund, or even the same fund pretty much from your brokerage. You would get like there's like extra fees they cut off of that sometimes, and so it really doesn't matter, I don't think, with brokerage. And what else to consider? If you're on debt, if you have debt, you're not doing it. You have to be on baby step 4, or you don't do it yet. People like to jump the gun on that. Lance Deakins. Question brings back some bad grad school finance memories. Yeah, well, we were all young and dumb. What are the steps? Google Joy's out. And to leave. Google Ramsey baby steps, Mr. Deakins. Paid off mortgage and student loans. You did it wrong. Should have paid off the non-mortgage debt first, but you already did it. So now you just pay off the mortgage, investing 15% of gross and not a penny more. And all of the extra money at that point goes to the mortgage. And then when you get the mortgage done, you're in step 7, and then you can invest whatever amount you want. Car payments from Mr. Ranfori Stevens. Car payments. Hello, everyone. The answer is no on car payments. Really trying to decide our next step on our way to living debt free. That's not to have any car payments. I work on the finance part of it all. My wife doesn't abuse money or anything. It's just the dynamic of paying off our debt. My wife and I currently have 2 vehicles, and this may sound like a really dumb question, but in the grand scheme of things, dumb questions got us all here, didn't they? Dumb decisions, not the if we ask about them, maybe we would have been talked out of it. The dumb decisions. Vehicle 1, 14,800. Doesn't matter the dumb interest rate. Doesn't matter at all. The baby steps, the Ramsey advice is not decided on by the interest amount because there's no risk button on the calculator. Monthly payment of 472, split in 2 payments of 250. That's 500, so you're paying a little bit more on it per month. Vehicle 2, 5K left to pay off. Vehicle is purchased from my parents and is 0 interest. Monthly income combined is about 8K. Dumb question, do we attack vehicle 1 or 2? Feel like I'm really overthinking this. You are. It says right here, baby steps 2, pay off debts from smallest to largest. So yeah, and you could get further ahead on the baby steps by selling vehicle 1, the one you owe $14,800 on. If you sold that and got a $2,000 car instead, then you would be ahead by having $12,800 less in debt. So, but you would be paying off the one you owe $5,000 on first, because it's smallest to largest. That would be the debt. Snowball. Checkered piece. Am I doing too much? We'll see. Good interest rates doesn't matter. Interest rates don't change the Ramsey advice. Interest rate doesn't matter, sir. The mortgage is not done until baby step 6. Am I doing too much? And stage 4 through 6. That would be steps 4 through 6. I guess it's a stage with retirement investments, children's college investment, and early house payments with the recent pay cut to stay employed. That's not fun. It's feeling tough. Part of me also wants a second car. Okay, so if you are in a life situation where you have a pay cut, yeah, the first thing you should do is want a new car. That's dumb as crap, sir or madam. Versus one family car, but struggling to get a used one. Mentally reviewed using ChatGPT the value of the funds to a house payment principal versus a loan. I get it, but it just feels like a lot sometimes. Well, the beauty of it is you can do whatever dumb crap you want to do. You know why? Because it's your life and your money, and I certainly support that. But the Ramsey advice is the proven way for 30 years, millions of documented success stories. No other financial advice has anywhere near that track record. But you can do whatever dumb crap you want to do with your life, even if it's, oh, I got a pay cut, but I want a second car. Dumb as crap, sir. Don't do that. Or madam. I, Debt Snowball versus 401k Investing is from Mew Mew, 1991, 2023. Maybe that's person's birth in the current year. No, I don't know what that would be. Maybe a pet's lifespan. Debt Snowball versus 401k Investing. Well, there's no need to even post. And hey, I'm sure it's been posted before. Absolutely, it has been. And so again, you can do whatever dumb crap you want to do, but we don't go by just the interest and whether 401k is going to bring in more interest than you have to pay on your debt. That doesn't matter. The Ramsey advice is step 2 is pay off your debts, and you are not investing at all during this time while you're still paying off your non-mortgage debt. So you can do whatever dumb crap you want to. It's fine. But that's not the way the Ramsey advice goes. And you are not on personal finance subreddit, I don't think. Let's look up here. No, look, it says Dave Ramsey. So it's the Ramsey subreddit, not personal finance or debt leverage. There is no actually R debt leverage. I checked. Thought there might be, but there's not. Somebody should start one because so many people love it. They should start one. Paying for things without a credit card. And how you do that is you use your debit card or cash on the barrelhead. I've recently started to listen to the podcast and find this to be a brilliant idea. It's pretty cool, isn't it? Convincing my wife is another story. Yeah, that will happen. I have a few questions that I haven't heard mentioned yet. How do you handle paying for travel or buying things online? That would be with a debit card. If you are concerned about having the debit card at all and using it for those things, you can get a Visa gift card for those things. I hate online shopping, but there seems to be a crumbling of brick and mortar stores, indeed, in favor of online only. That's true. And so, like I say, if you don't want to give your, you can also, for that, you can also like pay with things with PayPal. Pay for things with PayPal instead. And PayPal automatically will take it out of your bank account. That way the merchant doesn't get your card number or your bank account number, but PayPal does. And so you just need to decide if you trust PayPal or not at that point. But yeah, you can get around that by getting a Visa gift card or using one of the other middlemen like PayPal. Lax Mac, personal student loan forgiveness versus just paying it. Well, the Ramsey advice is you took it out, you need to pay it back. My wife works for the government and qualifies for the public service loan forgiveness. Okay. Currently parts of it are under review, and who knows what will exist in a few days or even years. Yeah, I wouldn't hold my breath on that. If you don't have it by now, I would think not happening, but who knows? It could be reinstated in 4 years or whenever the next president comes in. Who knows? But I was wondering if it's worth just paying this debt down. Yeah, it would be, because then you don't have to be concerned about it anymore. Every year she has to reapply to the program and has no idea what her payment will be until it comes due. You don't know if you are accepted or rejected, and if you're rejected, you have to apply again. Yeah. Yeah, sounds fun, doesn't it? Sounds like a lot of bureaucratic nonsense to me. It seems to me like if they were going to do something like that, if you still work for the government and you apply for it once, why wouldn't they just keep you on it? Why do you have to jump through those hoops? That's just, you having to jump through those hoops and reapply. That means there's got to be an extra person hired to look over that stuff. And again, that's the dumb crap that causes government to get too big. And so I'm glad it's not being cut down nearly as much as it should be. But this is better than any other administration has done. Where are we? Additionally, this is her third or fourth year loan servicer in the past 5 years. Yeah, they keep selling around, just like mortgages. Mortgages get sold all around too. Tracking everything down come tax time has become a yearly pain. Yeah, I mean, some people would think it's worth it to go through all that to not have to pay it off. Some people would think that's worth it. But if you don't, just pay it off then. There shouldn't be a question since you apparently don't like everything that goes with it. I'm very tempted by the fruit of another to just say, let's refi and get a monthly payment that is consistent and just hack away at this thing. Yep. I mean, that would be the Ramsey advice, to go ahead and pay for it. Pay it off. Then you don't have to worry about it anymore ever. Additionally, if she leaves her job for something else that isn't in the public sector, then it was all for naught. Indeed. There's no progress but paying in with hopes that it will be forgiven, but no guarantee that will actually come true. Is just a mental drain. I understand. I totally get it. That's why you should just pay it off. Oh, boom, 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 boom. Work provides a financial advisor. Yeah, even financial advisors, though, don't give you the right advice sometimes. So, and your payment's done on his advice. I mean, yeah, if all you're looking at is a calculator, that's going to be different advice than the Ramsey advice. Because calculators don't have a risk button on there. Sam Mad, 1, 2, 3, and also calculators would tell you debt leverage is a good idea. But how come then so many people that do debt leverage get in trouble? Roth 401, calling it the 401 like Dr. Deloney does, and doesn't put the K on the end there. You know, and I got to let it go because, you know, I always say every abbrev is approved. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. This was from 4 days ago. In 2024, my company started offering Roth contributions. That would be a Roth 401k, right? I contributed the max of $31,000. I understand the concept that taxes are paid up front and it grows tax-free. Yes, you got it. What's the question? Is the taxes. What about it? I was notified from my tax preparer to sit down because I was going to have to owe quite a bit of taxes. How? They should have been taken out when the contributions went in. Is it normal to be hit with a $5,000 plus tax bill due to my Roth contributions? No. If it is, I'm okay with it. Excuse me, as I understand that whenever I withdraw the money, it will all be tax-free. Well, once you become retirement age, yes, but not whenever you want to take it out. Please advise and many thanks. No, that should be taken out by them unless they didn't. Now, the problem, you say in 2024, my company started offering Roth contributions. Okay. And so guess what? If they opened up a Roth IRA, a Roth 401k for you, and you had a regular 401k, and you said, hey man, you know what would be cool and groovy is if we rolled that over from the traditional 401k to the Roth 401k. Let's do that, man, because I think that that tax-free growth is going to be groovy because the growth is going to be way more than the contribution amount. So yeah, let's do that. But when you do that rollover from a non-Roth to a Roth, then that creates that tax event. So that's what I think happened to our friend here. But you should check on that to make sure with your HR or whoever handles your 401k. Dr. Watson 111. Dave Ramsey mutual fund criteria beats S&P 10-year return average. No, not just 10 years. He wants you to compare managed mutual funds to that or have a don't not like not even consider a managed mutual fund that hasn't been open for at least 10 years. But and however long it's been open, it does beat the average of the S&P 500. You use the S&P 500's 10 to 12% average return. You use that as a barometer, and your managed fund should be making more than that. And they do exist because I have some. Does anyone want to reveal the mutual funds they've come up with that consistently beat the S&P 500 and meet all the criteria for fund picking? I'll start. Okay. FCNTX. I think that's probably a Fidelity one, and I have Fidelity myself, but that one isn't familiar to me. The 10-year average return, yeah, 1605. Yeah. Mine's more than that though, dog. So I don't know, like, you got to spend more time on it than you did probably. Turnover 18% exceeds the less than 10% expense ratio. No, it doesn't. The expense ratio 0.39, 10% would be 0.10. I mean, 0.39% is, if you made that a number, it would be 0.039. So maybe he's mixed up there on that. Inception 1967. Yeah, you do want to do that, but this is somebody that just wants to be told the answer instead of finding it themselves. And so just put this one here. I don't know, but yeah, most people don't want to do it themselves. They just want people to tell them what find, and then maybe they'll look that up and make sure that it's correct, but they don't want to have to find it themselves. Let's do at least one more here. We'll have enough in savings to pay off the Tesla and student loans. Well, that would be what, but then I lose the cushion. You don't have cushion. Baby step 2, you have $1,000 in savings and nothing else. So if you'd like to do the Ramsey advice, proven advice, again, for 30 years, millions of documented success stories, no other, not even your good financial advisor, which I'm sure he's great, but not even his advice is more proven than this. That means you do not have extra savings while still having debt, because that is debt leverage to have that cushion. So, and I wouldn't feel good with the aggressive investing we do. You wouldn't be investing either while you owed money on a Tesla and student loans. So you're doing it wrong. Car is 0% APR and student loans are at around 2%. The interest rate doesn't matter for this advice, sir. This advice is to get out of debt as quickly as possible. And that means you have only $1,000 in saving. That's your starter emergency fund. And then you pay off your debt, smallest to largest. And you're not doing other dumb stuff with money instead. But you can, of course, do whatever you'd like to do, sir. But that's just not the Ramsey advice. And look, Ramsey's right here in the title. It's the Ramsey Show Aftershow show. And it's also the name of this subreddit as well. Zombies are chasing him. All right. Interesting dreams for that person, probably. Am I handling this properly? Let's see. Baby step 2, flare. I don't like to talk about my flare. That's from a movie called Office Space, kids. My wife and I have a combined credit card debt of about $7,200. This is the only debt we have besides mortgage. We have a savings account with $9,500, in it. So again, that's a dumb thing to do. If you're on baby step 2, see, let's go through them, shall we? Let's look at the baby steps. It says baby step 1, save $1,000 as fast as possible. I don't see where it says save additional $8,500. I don't see that anywhere. Going by the steps, I feel like, for me, we should use our savings to pay off our credit cards. You have figured it out. See, I knew it wasn't that hard to understand. You have figured it out. Good job. Good job. Good job, zombies are chasing him. Good job. You figured it out exactly how the baby steps work. It is very simple. So, good job on figuring it out. I have talked to my wife, and we both agreed that if we do this, we will both continue paying into our savings as if we are making payments to the credit cards. No, well, you wouldn't do that either. You would be starting the full emergency fund at that, so that is savings. But you wouldn't be having separate savings. It would be all one together, which is how in a marriage, the finances are combined. Let's see. It seems obvious that this is the smart move, eradicating the crazy interest payments, but I can't help be terrified at the thought of nearly emptying our savings. You know what? The debt is scarier to me. So, I mean, I understand what you're saying, but the debt is scarier to me than only having $1,000 in an emergency fund. I know it will save us thousands of dollars. Yep, that too. But it's scary thinking about not having that safety net. Edit, thanks for the tips and support. I'm at work and can't respond to each reply, but appreciate the help. Edit again, we have decided we are going to pay off the credit cards and start working on baby step 3. Excellent. Thanks for input and advice. I really appreciate it. That's fabulous. Good job. Yeah. So, yeah, the Ramsey advice is no debt. And if you already have debt, when you find out about the Ramsey advice, then it's you pay that debt off quickly, and you don't do debt leverage, as in having debt hanging around while you have more savings and while you're also investing. Both of those extra savings, other than the $1,000 emergency fund, and investing, those are a no-no while you still have non-mortgage debt. Alrighty, once again, I am Coach Steve Money. I'm a Ramsey Solutions certified financial coach, and you're watching this on youtube.com/Coach Steve Money. And again, for my further financial content, just scroll past the Oak Island playlist, and you'll see the Ramsey Show Aftershow show playlist and the Answering Your Financial Questions playlist. And between those have about, 640 different shows, and so probably I would guess 800 or so hours of me telling people that they're doing it wrong, and just talking about finances in general. And the music playlist, 12 Ramsey adjacent songs are in there, and you can schedule a free financial coaching consultation / assessment with me at calendly.com/Coach Steve Money. That link is in the description below. It's in the description of the video, but also in the ticker below. You can email me if you have any financial questions or anything about financial coaching or anything else on my YouTube channel, coachstevemoney@gmail.com. Donations can go to paypal.me/Coach Steve Money. Alternatively, the CashApp, $Coach Steve Money, or Walmart gift card to coachstevemoney@gmail.com. Upcoming streams, that would be this show, the Ramsey Show Aftershow show, and that is 5:25 p.m. Eastern Time, Monday through Friday, even when there's reruns, like there will be all this week. But again, they're doing a new thing where they just take a bunch of different calls and edit them together from multiple shows. It's no longer just one complete show being replayed. Alrighty. Thanks so much for watching. Please subscribe, like, and comment. And as always, make smart financial decisions every day.